Students, nowadays it has been raining. Who doesn't like to get wet in rain? I do. Here you can see two children are in the rain. The girl is trying to protect herself from the rain with an umbrella. On the other side, the boy is getting wet in the rain but he is irritated. Here, a girl is walking in the street and suddenly the rain is started. She enjoyed the rain. Her clothes absorbed the water, but I have few questions in my mind like, did her body absorb some water too? Did the rain water seep into her body? If it is, her body will be bloated, isn't it? But no, because we have a waterproof covering in our body named skin, which is made of epithelial tissue. Here we can see that skin has three layers: epidermis, dermis and hypodermis. The outermost layer is epidermis. This epidermis is made of epithelial tissue. Yes, dear student, I will discuss the epithelial tissue. And I am Dr. Shahili Binte Hussain, Assistant Professor, Department of Anatomy, Faridpur Medical College. After the end of this presentation, the students will be able to define tissue and epithelial tissue, understand characteristics and functions of epithelial tissue, show domain of epithelial cell and related cell surface features, classify epithelial tissue, and explain structure function relationship of epithelial tissue. Before discussing the epithelial tissue, I am going to tell you some basics about the tissue. First of all, what is tissue? Tissue is a collection of cells that have similar structure and function together as a unit, or aggregation of cells organized to perform one or more specific function. From this definition, we can say that epithelial tissue is a collection or aggregation of epithelial cells that have similar structure and organized to perform specific function. Now let's see how organization of life, that means human body, occurred. Cell is the smallest unit that can carry out life's activity like human blood cell. And when groups of cells working together to perform a specific job called tissue, when groups of tissue act together and perform specific function called organ, and when groups of organ work together to perform a specific job formed organ system. And an organism, that is a human body, is made of many organ system. Our body is ultimately made of four basic type of tissue based on structure of cells, composition of non-cellular extracellular matrix and cell function. There are four types of adult tissue. First of all, epithelial tissue. In the epithelial tissue, cells are arranged like a flat sheet and adherent with each other, and it is specialized to cover the body and lines the body cavity, etc., etc. In the connective tissue, cells are scattered and extracellular matrix is more. It does the work for support and protection. In the muscular tissue, you can see muscle fibers which are seen as striation, and it works for contraction and movement. Nervous tissue cell is neuron, having special cell structure like cell body and some processes. This tissue is specialized for transmission of impulse or information. For this reason, we can say that each tissue has their own specific cellular structure, arrangement and specific function. Now I am going to tell about the characteristics of epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue is also called epithelium. Epithelial tissue consists of layers of cells that covers the body, lines the body cavities and organs and form glands. Cells are adherent with each other by cellular junctional complexes. Cells have one free surface. It rests on basement membrane having no blood supply and regenerate quickly. For an example, you can see here a micrograph of the absorptive epithelial cells of small intestine, which was plastic embedded tissue and stained with toluidine blue, and a schematic diagram of that tissue on the left side. Here, cells are adherent with each other by junctional complexes. Picture shows the luminal side above and minimal intercellular space in between the cells. And each cell has three domains or surfaces: apical surface, lateral surface or domain, and basal surface or domains. Apical domain or surface is towards the lumen, and that is the free surface of epithelial cell. In the basal domain, cells rest on the basement membrane, which is demarcated by a red colored line. Cells were attached side to side, that is the lateral domain of a cell. We know the epithelial tissue have no blood supply, but how nutrition enters into the circulation from the lumen? The arrow indicates that cells absorb nutrients from the luminal content and it goes to the circulation through the intracellular space first. Then it goes to intercellular space and then goes to the underlying connective tissue through the basement membrane. Another epithelial tissue characteristic is cells are adherent with each other by cellular junctional complex. But what is junctional complexes or cell junction? It is a complex connection or contact between neighboring cells or between cells and extracellular matrix. Here you can see three types of junctional complexes: occluding junction, that is Zonula occludens; anchoring junction or adhering junction, that is Zonula adherens and macula adherens; communicating junction, that is gap junction. Here cells are adherent with each other, indicating its apical side, lateral side and basal side. Now near the apical surface there is Zonula occludens. Beneath it Zonula adherens and then desmosomes or macula adherens. Cells need something to adhere with the basement membrane, isn't it? It is hemidesmosome. Another junctional complexes is present in between cells, that is gap junctions. These junctional complexes are made of different type of proteins which have specific function for epithelial tissue. Here you can see intercellular connection, and this is a transmission electron micrograph of epithelial cell showing cell junctions like Zonula occludens, that is occluding junction. It is usually present near the apical surface. Zonula means belt-like or ribbon-like, so it is a ribbon-like structure which prevents the passage of material between cells. Then Zonula adherens or anchoring junctions. From the name it is understood that it is also a ribbon-like structure which helps to adhere cell to cell. Then macula adherens, that is also a anchoring junction. It is also called desmosome. Macula means spot-like or disc-shaped. So a disc-shaped structure that helps to attach or adhere cell to cell. Zonula occludens consist of protein which include occludin, claudin, etc. It binds with actin filament. It seals the adjacent cells to one another. Zonula adherens. Here cell adhesion is mediated by E-cadherin, catenin, which are transmembrane glycoprotein, helps to adhere adjacent cells and to stabilize and strengthen the nearby circular occluding junction and also help hold the cell together. Macula adherens. It is present in the lateral surface of one cells that are matched with the identical structure of adjacent cell surface. It contains proteins like catenin, cadherin, desmoglin, desmocolin as linker protein. On the cytoplasmic side, there is a plaque of anchoring protein like placoglobin, desmoplakin, etc. It binds with intermediate filament which is very strong. That's why it provides firm adhesion among cells. A gap junction, that is a communicating junction which mediate communication or connection by the protein connexin between the adjacent cell, allowing direct transfer of nutrients or signal molecules from one cell to another. Here in this diagram we can see the different domain or surfaces: apical domain or surface, lateral domain or surface, basal domain or basal surface, and different junctional complexes like tight junction or occluding junction, which is brown in color, encircled the cell. Adhering junction, green in color, also encircle the cell. Blue disc shaped desmosome, red hemidesmosome, and yellow round gap junctions are shown here. Now, what are the different domain or surface features? First of all, lateral surface or domain features, that is cell junctions. Already I discussed some about cell junctions. Cell junctions are tight junction, that is occluding junction, desmosomes, that is adhering or anchoring junctions, gap junctions, that is communicating junctions. Here in this diagram we can see that cells are adherent with each other and junctional complexes are shown. In the first zoomed figure, tight junction is shown. It completely encircles the cells, forming an adhesion belt which is shown in the picture above. It blocks the flow of fluid or substances between cells. Here I would like to give you an example like urinary bladder to understand the importance of tight junction. Suppose cells lining the urinary bladder are not adherent with each other by tight junction. Then what will happen? Then urine, that means excretory substance or product, will be leaked into the cell from urinary bladder space, which is harmful to our body. This mechanism also takes place in different barrier like blood-brain barrier to prevent entry the toxic substance into the brain. So we can say that where impermeability is needed, our Almighty gave the tight junction to adhere cells there. Now let's see the second zoomed schematic diagram, that is desmosome. What do you see here? Here it shows two disc-like plaque containing intermediate filament are joined or interdigitated by some protein in extracellular space. Intermediate filament provides firm adhesion among cells. It reduces chance of tearing, twisting or stretching. For example, epidermis of skin. Cells of epidermis are adherent with each other mainly by desmosomes. Then gap junctions. Third zoomed diagram, which is a communicating junction. 6 connecting protein makes connection which are involved to make communication through cell to cell when necessary. By this junction, electrical impulse or cell signaling molecules can pass from one cell to another, and this communicating junction is not only present in the epithelial tissue but also present in muscular tissue and nervous tissue. For example, we can say in cardiac muscle, gap junctions helps to transport rapidly rhythmic coordinated electrical impulse into muscle fibers, and heart works as a unit. That's why it is called functional syncytium. Like this gap junction, fluid electrolyte signal molecules also transmit from cell to cell in the epithelial tissue. Now, apical surface or apical domain features. Apical surface of a epithelial cell have some modification like microvilli, cilia and stereocilia. Microvilli are finger-like extensions of plasma membrane formed by microfilament abundantly present in the epithelia of small intestine, kidney, tubule, etc. It maximizes the surface area across which small molecules enter or leave. That means where more absorption and secretion is needed, epithelial cell with microvilli is present there, like small intestine, kidney, tubule, etc. Cilia are short, fine, motile, hair-like projection of epithelial surface membrane formed by microtubule, which works like scavenger by its sweeping movement. For an example, in the respiratory tract epithelium, cells have motile cilia to expel dust particles or foreign substances, protecting respiratory tract. There are some difference between cilia, basal body and centriole, which we'll discuss later. Stereocilia. Stereocilia are unusual long immotile microvilli formed by microfilament. As it is microvilli, it increases surface area for more absorption and secretion, which is beneficial to sperm for nutrition. It is present in the epididymis, proximal part of ductus deferens, etc. etc. Stereocilia also acts as a mechanosensory receptor in the sensory hair cell of inner ear. Here, the structure of microvilli is shown, which is made of microfilament, that is actin, myosin and some other proteins. It is necessary to know what is the difference between microvilli and brush border. Microvilli only distinguished when it is seen under electron microscope, but when it is seen under light microscope, it is called brush border, consisting microvilli with glycocalyx. This is a photomicrograph of tracheal epithelium. Here, cilia, which is indicated by C, and basal bodies indicated by capital BB are seen. Cilia appears as hair-like projection extending from apical surfaces of cell, and a dark line immediately below the cilia is produced by basal bodies. I said earlier that cilia is formed by microtubule. Basal body also formed by microtubule. But there is a difference between cilia and basal body in the arrangement of microtubule. Basal body is actually the root of cilia. Cilia is also called exonyme. In the cilia, microtubule is arranged as doublet ring and centrally two tubules present within it. On the other hand, in the basal body, microtubule is arranged as triplet ring and no microtubule is present centrally. And like this basal body, in the centriole, microtubule is arranged. Motile cilia have central doublet and peripheral doublet ring with outer and inner dynein arms radial spokes which are all needed for motility. Here a micrograph of epididymis and a schematic diagram of stereocilia are shown. Stereocilia is made of microfilament and it is interconnected by cytoplasmic bridges. Now, basal surface or basal domain features. Most important basal surface feature is basal lamina and basement membrane. Here a magenta colored line is labeled as basal lamina and also as basement membrane, though both micrograph of respiratory epithelium is seen under light microscope. Different authors mentioned basal lamina as basement membrane or basement membrane as basal lamina in different books like this. Is it same? No, it makes confusion. Actually, basal lamina is a part of basement membrane, but basement membrane is not a part of basal lamina. Basal lamina is a layer of extracellular matrix secreted by the epithelial cells on which epithelium sits. This layer is often incorrectly referred to as basement membrane. It does constitute a portion of basement membrane. It acts as a selective filter determining which molecule can enter the epithelium from the capillaries of connective tissue and vice versa. Basal lamina consists of lamina lucida and lamina densa. Lamina lucida, which is electrolucent, seen in between cell, and lamina densa, formed by some protein like fibronectin, laminin, and receptor of integrin, which helps to adhere the cell with extracellular substances. Though some author treated it as an artifact produced during tissue preparation due to rapid dehydration defect which causes cell shrinkage. Lamina densa, which is electrodense, composed of some protein like laminin, type 4 collagen, glycoprotein, etc. etc. These basal lamina along with reticular lamina form basement membrane, and reticular lamina consists of type 3 collagen tissue. Here it is shown that basal lamina and reticular lamina collectively forms basement membrane. It is needed to mention that basal lamina only distinguished under electron microscope, but if it is seen under light microscope should mention as basement membrane. Is it clear? I hope. Okay, let's see the classification of epithelium or epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue can be classified in two different ways based on shape of the cell and based on number of cell layers. According to number of cell layers, epithelial tissue is of two types. One is simple, that is one cell layer thick, rests on basement membrane like this. Another one is stratified. Strata means layer. So two or more cell layer thick epithelial tissue is called stratified like this. Here simple epithelium, which is one cell layer thick, and stratified epithelium is more than two layer thick. Cell surfaces are also shown here. Epithelial tissue is classified in two ways as before. One way is based on number of cell layer told before, and another way is based on shape of cell, such as squamous epithelium. Squam means scaly or flat. The epithelial cells having flat squam shaped cells with thin nuclei called squamous epithelium. Cuboidal epithelium. These cells are cube-like, having a spherical central nuclei. Another one is columnar epithelium, which consists of tall, narrow cells having nuclei near bottom. Squamous epithelial cells looks like flat tiles used in floor, isn't it? In this type of epithelium, cell breadth is greater than length. Cuboidal epithelium. Students, look. Cell looks like an ice cube, where cell length and breadth are almost same. Columnar epithelium. Look, columns of building is seen. Columnar cell looks like this column, having cell length is greater than breadth. So according to shape of cell, epithelial tissue is classified into three types. Those are flat squamous shaped squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, cube shaped, and columnar shaped columnar epithelium. Now let's see the structure function relationship of epithelium. First of all, simple squamous epithelium. Before discussing it, it is needed to mention that epithelial tissue has its first name and last name like every individual. First name indicates how much layer it has, and second name indicates shape of cells lined the surface or structures. So it can be said that simple squamous epithelium indicates that it is single cell layer thick, cell squamous in shape as mentioned before. Here an schematic diagram of simple squamous epithelium and a micrograph of renal capsule is shown. Micrograph shows that the wall of capsule is lined by simple squamous epithelium. The capsule is consists of capillary network from which fluid is filtered and form urine. Then it is collected in the urinary spaces. Then it goes to proximal convoluted tubule shown here. Nucleus of epithelial cells appeared to protrude into urinary space. Free surfaces of cells faces towards the urinary space, and basal surface rests on basement membrane. As this epithelium is seen, that is one cell layer thick and cells are flat, so filtration and transcellular transport can easily take place through this epithelium. Like this, lung alveoli can transport oxygen from lungs to blood. So we can say that where more diffusion or filtration or transport is needed, cells need to be more thin like simple squamous epithelium, and our Almighty gave the simple squamous epithelium there. Here simple cuboidal epithelium indicates that epithelial cells are cuboidal in shape, having single cell layer, which is shown the schematic diagram and micrograph of pancreatic duct. Duct wall is lined by simple cuboidal epithelium, and cell nuclei are spherical and cells are cube shaped. These type of cells have secretory and absorptive function. For this reason, this type of epithelium also found in the small collecting duct of kidney and salivary gland also. Micrograph of the wall of gallbladder, which is lined by simple columnar epithelium, and a schematic diagram of simple columnar epithelium shows that these type of epithelial cells are tall, columnar shaped and single cell layer thick. Nuclei are near the bottom because its nuclei are compressed by the secretory product of the cell. These cells are specialized for secretion, lubrication and absorption. So this type of epithelial cell is present where secretory and absorptive function is necessary. For this reason, it is also found in GIT lining. Now, stratified epithelium. First of all, stratified squamous epithelium. Here, from the name of epithelium, it is understood that its cell is squamous in shape, having multiple cell layers. It is necessary to mention you that stratified epithelium is named according to the shape of most superficial cells. This schematic diagram shows cells of basal layer are cube shaped, but superficial layer are squamous shaped. That's why named as stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous epithelium are of two types. One is keratinized and another one is non-keratinized. Keratinized stratified squamous epithelium is filled with keratin. Here, micrograph of epidermis shows stratified squamous epithelium. They lose their nuclei and organelle in the superficial cell layer. Due to the presence of keratin in this type of epithelium, it helps to prevent water loss and makes the skin waterproof. Another type, that is non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. The micrograph of esophageal lining shown in the right side. Here, cells retain their nuclei. These cells mainly secrete mucus, which provide protection against microorganism or foreign body, and also lubricate the wall of lumen and prevent friction damage. It also present in female reproductive tract. Though stratified columnar and stratified cuboidal epithelium are rare, but some large duct of gland like sweat gland have double layered cuboidal epithelium which protect the duct from the damage for secretion. Here, micrograph of the duct of sweat gland epithelium is shown on the right side, and a micrograph of palpebral conjunctiva which is lined by stratified columnar epithelium shown on the left side. Besides the simple and stratified epithelium, there are two more epithelium. One is pseudostratified epithelium and another one is transitional epithelium. Pseudostratified epithelium. Micrograph of upper respiratory tract and a schematic diagram of pseudostratified epithelium are shown here. Pseudo means false. In this diagram, cells are seemed to be arranged in several layers. But no, basal end of each cell is connected with basement membrane. Cell's height is different. That's why nuclei position is in different level. Some cells cannot reach or extend up to the lumen, which have no free surface. For this reason, it is called pseudostratified epithelium. So, pseudostratified epithelium means epithelium which have single layered columnar shaped cell, and it is mainly secretory in function. Another one is transitional epithelium. Transitional means cells which undergo transition in appearance. According to necessity, these cells can change their shape. Here, an schematic diagram and a micrograph of urinary bladder is shown. In this diagram, it is shown that superficial cells are dome-shaped, called umbrella cell. It allows distension when urinary bladder filled with urine. Cells became flat-shaped to make urinary bladder more spacious. to accommodate the urine. But after maturation, cells retain their shape. That's why it is called transitional epithelium. These cells are interconnected by tight junction to protect underlying tissue from cytotoxic substances. Now, let's see the type of epithelial tissue at a glance. Simple epithelium. Simple epithelia are simple squamous, simple cuboidal, simple columnar, and pseudo-stratified epithelium. On the other hand, stratified epithelia are stratified squamous epithelium, and it again divided into keratinized and non-keratinized, and stratified columnar, stratified cuboidal, and transitional epithelium. Now let's see the structure function relationship of the epithelium with some example. Like simple squamous epithelium, which lines blood vessels, sacs of lungs, permits nutrients, gases, and waste product exchange. Ciliated columnar epithelium present in the trachea, bronchi, uterus, etc., having absorptive and secretory function. Simple cuboidal epithelium lines kidney tubule, glands, etc., which secrete and reabsorb water and small molecules. Simple columnar epithelium lines most of the digestive organs, which absorb nutrients and produce mucus. So, now we can say the functions of epithelial tissue easily, isn't it? Those are protection, absorption, secretion, transcellular transport, and sensory receptor function. Different name of epithelium is used in different places, like endothelium, which is blood vessel lining, mesothelium, which is body cavity lining, endocardium, which is the lining of atrium and ventricle, and endometrium, which is the lining of uterus. That's all my presentation. I hope you can understand the epithelial tissue from the perspective of function. That means from now you will correlate the structure from the functional point of view. Thank you for watching.